Welcome to the many interpretations of the turkey. That's right, we're going there. We're here today. We're doing that. We're doing this. We're doing it. We're doing it right now. Of course, today in the United States, it is Thanksgiving, and more often than not, people will be serving turkey today as their main dish for their Thanksgiving dinner. And turkeys are birds, which means that turkeys are dinosaurs. So it certainly fits the theme that we have going on for this series. And it's just a cool little special video. So, for those of you who will be celebrating the holiday today anyway, it's not going to be a long one. I have only selected a few different media depictions of the turkey. I mean, there's a lot out there, I'm sure, but I've just narrowed it down to a few because I want it to be a quick little special video. I don't want this to drag on too long, but it still gives me an excuse to talk about a really cool modern day dinosaur. So, let's get right into it. We'll start off with Looney Tunes. We have this turkey right here, very stylized in the Looney Tune style. And I love the Looney Tune style, so it works out. He has tail feathers, a more brown coloration with a reddish head, a yellow beak, and he has notably a snood. A snood is that weird looking structure on top of his beak that modern day wild turkeys have. The North American species most notably has this structure. And it's very interesting, along with a waddle. Turkeys just have a lot of things going on in their face. Even the species that you can find in Mexico, because yes, there is a species of turkey in Mexico known as the ocellated turkey, which is by far one of my favorite birds today. Because look at this thing. It's a turkey that has a bronze and green iridescent sheen with like a blue head, and it's covered in these little nodules all over the place. They're very fascinating turkeys. I mean, turkeys in general are just really fascinating. Like, I really like turkeys. They're really, really cool looking birds. So this is still exciting. Anyway, this guy does check all of the boxes. When you look at it, it very much does look like a turkey. So fantastic job on that part. Great start to the list. Next up, we have free birds. So we get a few different turkey designs here. It seems like the two main characters have a striking contrast between one another. You have this massive, bulky turkey, more so black feathers with a red head and a huge waddle. And then you have the smaller turkey who has a blue head and more so a brown body, brown feathers rather, as well as a smaller waddle. And it does seem like they have a snood. Isn't that just a fun word too? Snood. And of course, these guys are anthropomorphized. They do seem like they could be humans in weird turkey costumes, which is something, I suppose. I don't know. They're just very stylized, and I do need to make sure I have some stylized ones in here. But I think that they capture the idea of turkeys pretty well. I've never seen this movie though, so I can't really weigh in too much more other than that, but yeah, very cool. And then from Chicken Little, we have Mayor Turkey Lurkey. So, a turkey as a mayor is a very fun concept to me, and I have no idea why. There's just something that's incredibly comical about that. Look at him wearing his like little suit with his top hat, and it's funny. He's very thin in the neck, very long. He's stylized, of course. He has the tail feathers with really cool patterns going on. He's got the snood, he's got the waddle, and he's an interesting character, pretty cowardly overall. He seems to be pretty incompetent as a mayor. He can't even speak for himself.
What did he say? You have to, don't do it.
And I remember him being pretty funny. I haven't watched Chicken Little too much. I remember not really liking it when I was younger, so I never went back to it to check it out. But I remember him being pretty fun. I think he got some chuckles from me. I think he did get a few snorts or a few from me. I think that's what he got. Anyway, let's move on. This one I wanted to talk about. When I was like looking for different media depictions that I could place in here, I stumbled across this. It's called Thanksgiving. It's a horror movie, and I bet you could tell where the terror will be coming from. It's a turkey that is killing people. Kind of swapping the roles, because typically we get the turkeys for Thanksgiving, but this time the turkey gets you. It has terrible reviews, so I doubt that I'll ever watch it, and it doesn't really look like it's my cup of tea, but I do kind of like the way that the turkey looks. He's terrifying. He's very stylized. He's got like a very gnarly appearance about him, but he still does look like a turkey. He lacks a snood, he lacks the waddle, but he's got like more of a reddish head, very gnarly looking eyes, some really cool and like natted feathers, I suppose, with the tail feathers looking really cool. And I think that he's a puppet as well. I think they control him like this. He also has some teeth in his mouth, which of course is something that the turkeys do lack. But all around, it does seem very terrifying, I suppose. I'm sure that as terrifying as it could possibly be. But I like the way that he looks. One of the most interesting stylized ones that we have on here. After that, we have The Simpsons. I remember a turkey showing up in one of the Treehouse of Horrors, the one where they kind of parody what is it called? Charlie Brown, the great pumpkin Charlie Brown. They accidentally bring a pumpkin to life, and then they have to will this guy into life known as Tom the Turkey, to which he dispatches the great pumpkin, and then he finds out that people eat turkeys, and then he decides to eat a lot of them. Very fun indeed. Now he's pretty interesting looking. He looks a lot like a turkey. He has a snood, very important right there, very, very important. And he has like a little bit of a pilgrim getup, which matches the whole, I guess, tradition of Thanksgiving, I suppose, like what we often associate with Thanksgiving, more specifically with the pilgrims who came over on the Mayflower and all that good stuff, and had the first Thanksgiving with Native Americans, all that stuff that we typically associate with Thanksgiving. So he has that stuff going on, and the feathers with a pretty cool pattern overall. There was also a later Simpsons episode by the looks of it that I never saw. It was like a newer one where the whole family appears to be turkeys. They do also showcase a little bit of the sexual dimorphism between turkeys, whereas, where it shows that Homer is a little bit larger than Marge, because, of course, male turkeys are typically larger than female turkeys, which is also really notable because turkeys belong to an order of bird known as galliforms. Typically, we refer to galliforms as game birds, and a lot of galliforms we do use as a food source. But notably, a lot of galliforms are sexually dimorphic, like peafowl, or the very awesome golden pheasant. And turkeys are, of course, notably, sexual dimorphic as well. There's also a big difference between Homer and Marge, and Bart and Lisa and Maggie, right there, little Maggie. The babies look different from the adults, which is also really cool. They have, completely brown coloration, whereas Marge and Homer have like a red head, which is very interesting. Yeah, I actually quite like the way that they look in this. They look really good, and it looks like there was a lot of attention to detail applied to both of them. They also have snoods. That's just gotta love it. You just gotta love it. Anyway, we'll go ahead and move on to Phineas and Ferb, Agent T.
And the turkey goes.
Sir, we lost Agent T last November.
Ooh.
He didn't make it. He didn't make it. But yeah, we'll go ahead and end the list there. That is the many interpretations of the turkey. So as I mentioned, birds are dinosaurs. I'll clarify a little bit more right now. Birds first showed up towards the end of the Jurassic period. They branched off from the rest of the theropod dinosaurs around that time. They went into their own group known as the avians. They are known as avian dinosaurs. And evolving out of a clade is not something that you're able to do. And so no matter how much a bird changes, it's still a dinosaur because that's where it finds its origins. That's how we base our phylogenetics off of. That means birds are reptiles as well. That's a really fun fact right there. I know there's still a lot of folks out there who don't really like that or just don't really know that, so I might get a few comments on that. But at the end of the day, birds are dinosaurs. We still do live with dinosaurs. Dinosaurs were not completely wiped out. The avian dinosaurs are still around today, and that is just absolutely amazing. And they are represented through very, very cool animals like turkeys. I really do like turkeys. I really like the order of galliforms in general. It has a lot of very cool birds, but turkeys are certainly a standout for me. They just look cool. I don't really know how else to put it. The interesting structures that they have on their head is just really interesting to look at, especially with the ocellated turkey that has very cool colors about them. And of course, those little nodules, which are, those little orange and yellow bumps all over their heads. They're just really fascinating to me. And for the United States, turkeys are technically a big part of this day for a lot of different folks. So it's definitely worth it to talk about them a little bit, especially considering it still does technically fit the theme of this series. I mean, I don't think I necessarily have to stick with that theme. I can probably go off course every once in a while. Extant animals, which are animals that are still alive today, are still incredibly fascinating and a huge part of my interest in these parts of things. I do spend a lot of my time researching modern day animals as much as I do extinct animals. So anyway, this was more so just a fun little video that I wanted to get out. This is going up early on a Thursday. Of course, it's going up on Thanksgiving, which is earlier than when these videos typically do go out, which is, of course, on Sunday. That means that I won't be doing a many interpretations of video this Sunday. Instead, we'll be waiting until next Sunday, which is honestly great for me because it gives me a little bit more time to research and get that video prepared. I do have an idea of what I will do for that one. I won't say anything yet because it'll be a surprise, but it is a creature that has been requested a lot and I think has been long overdue. So definitely stay tuned for that. And then eventually we'll get back to our regular polls and you guys can vote for which creature you'd like to see next. But until then, if you guys enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. It really does help out the channel a lot. But that's pretty much all I have for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching and have an awesome day. And happy Thanksgiving to those in the States.